Alright, boys, I gotta be honest. If you would have told me 10 years ago that Post Malone was gonna become one of the biggest names in country music, I would have laughed right in your face. Seriously. I remember hearing White Iverson for the first time and thinking, this guy looked like he just wandered out of a gas station parking lot at 2 o'clock in the morning. Face tattoos, gold grills, Bud Light in his hand. And somehow he was making music that absolutely exploded. Then came Congratulations, then Rockstar, then Sunflower. And before you know it, this guy is one of the biggest artists on the planet. But here's the crazy part. Country music fans are acting like Post Malone just showed up one day and decided to become country. That's not really what happened. If you followed Posty for a while, the signs were always there. I mean, the guy grew up listening to all kinds of music. Rock, country, hip-hop, pretty much everything. And if you go back and watch old clips, he was covering country songs years before anybody thought he'd make a country album. Now, don't get me wrong. When he announced F1 Trillion, I think a lot of people kind of had the same reaction. They were like, all right, buddy, are you doing country because you love country or because country's hot right now? And honestly, it's a fair question. I mean, we've seen plenty of artists try to jump genres and ended up being a complete disaster. But I mean, then the album drops and suddenly you've got Morgan Wallen on there. You've got Luke Combs. You've got Chris Stapleton. You have Jelly Roll. You have Lainey Wilson. You have Tim McGraw, Blake Shelton, and Dolly Parton. Basically every heavyweight in Nashville. And here's what surprised me. It didn't feel forced. It felt like a guy who genuinely wanted to make a country record. Now, was every song perfect? No. But the thing Post Malone has always been good at is making music that sounds like Post Malone. Whether it's rock, whether it's pop, whether it's country, or whether it's rap. You hear his voice for 3 seconds and you know exactly who it is. And that's a lot harder than people think. The other thing that no one talks about is, how risky this was. Imagine being one of the biggest artists on the planet and you keep making the same songs. You keep printing money. You keep playing it safe. Instead, this dude basically walks into Nashville and says, let's see what happens. And somehow it worked. Now, you've got country fans arguing whether or not it's country enough. You've got pop fans following him into country music. And you've got Post Malone sitting in the middle laughing all the way to the bank. Honestly, I think the coolest part of this whole story is that Post Malone never really changed who he was. The tattoos are still there, the personality's still there, and the beer is probably still there. He's just making different music. And maybe that's why people connect with him. Because whether he's singing Rockstar or singing with Morgan Wallen, it still feels like Posty. But I want to know what you guys think. Is Post Malone actually country? Or is he still a rapper that happens to make country music? Let me know below.